Thank you for tuning in to the best parenting show on the internet, Post Daily Dose.
It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post.
Hello, Facebook. Are you out there? Can you see Big Papa? Hey, good afternoon, Facebook family. Welcome to another episode of Post Daily Dose with me, your trusted parenting advisor, faithful guide and servant on the healing journey. What's my name? Big Papa Brian+Post. Hope you guys are having a amazingly whimsical Wednesday. This is Wednesday. Is this Wednesday? This is Wednesday. Yes. Wednesday, yes, it's Wednesday this week. Is this hump day? Is this Wednesday? Is this really Wednesday? Or is this Tuesday? Yeah, this Wednesday. Okay, yeah, it's Wednesday. Hump day, it's Wednesday. All right, here we go. Woo! Let's get it going. Hope you guys have been having a fantastic day. Today's episode, we're going to talk about the importance of self-care. Why self-care? But we're also going to talk about dealing with teen tantrums, because you can never get too much of dealing with teen tantrums. And let me just tell you something. Hey, Shannon, all day Wednesday. Thank you for that. Let me tell you something. I had a new worker start today. Her name is Sarah. She's our home aide. She's our home helper, our home executive assistant. And I'm telling you, she has made my day. Probably this is one of the best days I've had in the last 3 weeks. It's just been fantastic. Amazing. And I'm gonna call Sarah part of my self-care, because I can be obsessive about stuff. And you guys know over the last 3 weeks I've kind of been having this thing where I've had a bunch of kids here with me and looking after them, and it's fantastic and I love it. And I know though how if I can sweep a floor 3 times a day, I know that it's still not getting clean, because it probably needs to be mopped, and it needs to be dust, and I don't like to dust, and there's like stuff I don't like to do, but I do it anyway, and I don't do it very well. And then with that much traffic over the course of a day, sometimes we have 13, 14 kids in here. It just gets to be too much. So making the decision and making the commitment to bring onto our team a home executive assistant just makes it so much easier. So it's been such a beautiful day, and kids get a great experience, and it's just been amazing. Hello there, Mimi. And Mimi says, welcome, Sarah. And hello there, Tammy. So it's just been fantastic. And Sarah's actually finishing her day off on a high note by baking chocolate chip cookies. Who does that? Who does that? It's just fantastic. Makes Big Papa very happy. So on the same lines of self-care, why self-care matters, because I talk to you guys about self-care all the time. I've been going to a chiropractor for the last couple of weeks. I woke up a few weeks ago, and my back was like, I knew over the last 3 weeks to a month prior, I knew that my back was just out of sorts. The little kinks that you get, nothing terrible, you just live with it. And I'm kind of used to living with stuff like that. But I also know that when I need to take care of something. And so I made an appointment with a local chiropractor. Told you guys about Dr. Sean Gray, Gray Chiropractic here in Crescent City. It's fantastic. Did an adjustment on me, and then I've actually literally been going 3 times a week over the last 2 weeks. And this morning when I was on the way to the chiropractor, hey there, Sarah Shirley. When I was on the way to the chiropractor, I had the thought, wow, I feel really good. It's like the best I've felt physically in like a while, just because of, I thought it was just the mini beds and the mini pillows and, just not neck all kinked up. But, he said my hips were out of alignment and some other stuff. But I'm telling you, I feel so good. My body feels good. Now, why is that important? It's important at an unconscious level. See, it's important at a level we're not aware of. There's the level that we're aware of that says, hey, I'm not feeling quite right. My body's not feeling quite right. But the unconscious level is the level of stress. It's the the level of distress your body is in. It's the experience of stress your body is having when you are in pain or when you are in chronic discomfort. And I wonder how many of my parents are in pain. Old age, yes, is a part of it, Mimi. And matter of fact, he gave me a supplement, which is fantastic. I mean, I digress, but he gave me this supplement. It's called CalMag. I think I showed you guys. Has the melatonin in it. Yeah. And I was feeling really tired the next morning. So kind of made adjustment to that, but I think my body's gotten used to it. I'm not sure the melatonin impacts me that much. It's like, it just, because I sleep good anyway, which is a real blessing. Like, I don't have any problem going to sleep. But I think I've been sleeping a lot longer through the night instead of doing my usual wake up at 3:30 and watch a couple educational YouTube videos and then fall asleep. So that's the one thing I feel like it's probably been helping a lot, because you guys know I'm a big magnesium advocate anyway. But this coral magnesium and this coral calcium is supposed to regenerate the disc in my back. And I didn't even know I had a disc issue, but he said if I keep taking this coral calcium, CalMag stuff that I've been taking in, which I do take my supplements religiously. Actually, I just ordered, I added beet powder to my, hey, Kelly Lynn, thank you for dropping 200 stars on Big Papa! I just added beet juice powder, and I just added green powder because you can get all your veggies, and beets is really good for your blood pressure and for your blood circulation and everything else. Ashley D dropping 100 stars on Big Papa. Thank you so much. So added those to my supplement regimen, and then my best friend Patrick, who's like, he's my most favorite grumpiest old man ever, and we're the same age. He sent me a picture of a new multivitamin he was taking. I actually don't take a multivitamin. And I'm like, he's like, look at this stuff. What's in this stuff? And he's always asking me about medical stuff and health stuff. Hello there, Lala. So he sent me the label, and I looked at it. I'm like, wow, that's got some really good stuff in it. I think I'm going to try it. So I just ordered that today, and it'll be in tomorrow. I mean, Amazon Prime is stepping up the game. I am up in Crescent City, which is like, look on the map. It's way up in this little spot in the United States, and Amazon's gonna get. I ordered it 2 hours ago, and I'm getting it today. And woo, you know, retailers got to be feeling the pressure with Amazon, because who does that? I mean, next thing will be same day delivery. I know that that's coming, but anyway, So, yeah, I love supplements. I take them religiously. You guys know that. Talked to you about it before. And I've been taking my CalMag, and I feel fantastic. And I feel fantastic. And when I feel fantastic, then guess what? My stress levels are reduced. Now, I just heard the van outside. And I'm pretty sure the van's not supposed to be here this soon. I thought they were surfing. So we'll see who comes bursting through the door. So the reason you buy, it's important that you take care of yourself, is because it reduces the stress at an unconscious level. So you may be in pain, and you may just be dealing with it. And you may be getting sleep, and you may just be not getting sleep, and you may just be dealing with it. Thank you for the hearts. Uh-oh, I feel some love coming on. Bring it in, bring it in. Bring the love into Big Papa. Hit those hearts for me. Bam, 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 bam. Oh, I can feel them coming. It's so funny, because as soon as I say hit those hearts, I know you guys are hitting those hearts, and I can feel those. I can feel the energy, the vibration, the electricity coming through the universe, and all of a sudden it's just going to go boom. It's going to burst. It's like boom. Now here it comes. Oh man, filling me up so good. Make me feel. You guys have no idea how those hearts just fill me and delight me and carries me over into the evening and increases my window of tolerance, which is important, because I'm going to tell you about the situation I had last night. And it just, increases my window of tolerance. It makes me feel so much better. But the self-care is important, because when you're taking care of yourself, you're reducing that stress, that unconscious stress that you're otherwise not aware of. And guess what? Stress gets communicated non-verbally through vibrations and through electric vibrations that we send off, through these nonverbal patterns that we send off, neurophysiologic feedback loops that we send off. So if you're hurting, it could have nothing to do with your child. Your knee is hurting. You're just like, oh, I hurt. And your kid comes along and they want to give you love and affection. But guess what? You just don't feel like giving love and affection. Why? Not because you don't love your kid, but because you hurt. So taking care of yourself is so very important. I want to encourage that. to you as often as I possibly can. So here's the other thing, magnesium. So I'm a big fan, Allison, of all magnesiums. The magnesium that my chiropractor recommended is called CalMag, C-A-L-M-A-G. But I take a magnesium citrate every night, and I also take a magnesium oxide, and then I am actually developing a supplement that is magnesium glycinate, which is good for anxiety and good for regulation of emotions. So working on that too. Some of you, maybe it's a little harder to find magnesium glycinate, so you might have to order that online. I don't have mine ready yet, and it's just one of many things Big Papa has going on at any given moment. So anyway, take care of yourself, because it makes a big difference at a nonverbal, at an unconscious level, and it's important. I want you guys to feel good. I want you to feel happy. I want you to feel, like you're on top of the world as much as possible. So last night I had a little situation. We had a little guest for the night, which put our kid count up to 7. And so he's a high energy little guy. He's just like talks loud. He's like got this big dramatic dynamic personality, and I knew it was going to be a little tense night. It's funny because I just said to someone the other day, you can have a good balance of kids, and then all of a sudden you get just that one kid in, and it can throw the whole balance off. And so I knew last night that was, especially going into nighttime, that was going to be a challenge. I was up for it, of course, but I was aware of it. Yeah, see you at 9. Thanks, Sarah. So I was thinking about it. I was aware of it. I was mindful of it all evening, kind of going in, going through their little routine and then winding down and doing what they need to do. And so, I actually planned on being up a little later than I'd usually be, because with my normal 6, it was 5, and then we added another one. So now we had 6. I've been able to get them down into bed more or less at about 10:30. And the 2 older ones, they go into their rooms, and I don't really bother with when they go to sleep. They're teens. Teens do crazy stuff with their rhythm. So I don't worry about that. But I got a few of them that need their sleep and need to get down. So I was up, I had all the lights off, I was sitting here at the kitchen table, and I was watching some YouTube video or something, just more or less being aware, staying awake, and I heard, so a couple of the boys, the teen boys, were in the back visiting with one of the girls, their friends, and they were hanging out, and so eventually at some point they split off, so... And these are all friends. Like I don't have any anxiety. There's nothing on my radar about anything sexual or anything inappropriate going on. Nothing like that at all. So just like, that's not even a concern. But I could feel all of a sudden the anxiety. So there was bickering going back and forth between the 2 rooms, and one of my girls got upset with the other one, and they started lipping to one another across the hall. They weren't even face to face. It was like separate, which is funny in and of itself. But because I'm attuned, I listen to the intensity. And the intensity didn't feel good, and it also felt like it was being egged on by the presence of the boys. And so one thing I don't deal with kids is bullying, any kind of bullying. And another is a lot of drama, because drama comes from places of stress, and that stress becomes trauma. So it becomes trauma pretty soon. And once you tip into trauma, it's a whole nother game. So I immediately went in, and this is, I use very few words, and I opened the door, and I said, "You out." Said, "You out." And that was it. I said, "Upstairs." So they went upstairs to their little area. And then one of my teens, the one she was pretty upset. And she's 16 years old. And so it's been an interesting process of building a really strong relationship with her to be able to have that influence. So she came out, and I could tell she was upset. She didn't say a lot. She went to the door, she went out the door, and this is about 10 o'clock at night, so it was dark out. It's kind of cool. Yeah, I don't sweat that kind of stuff. Her going out the door, everyone needs to be able to cool off. If she had needed to go for a walk, hey, go for a walk. Everyone needs that time. So she went out for a minute, and then she came back in. Oh, and one of the little guys that came down, and he was going to go out with her. I said, hey, no, we're not going to have any more drama. You go back upstairs. He turned around and went back upstairs. And so then she popped her head back in the door, and she said, hey, can I ask my buddy to go for a bike ride with me? I was like, nah, you guys kind of need to chill out for a little bit. So she didn't like that. She got mad and she huffed and puffed down the hallway and slammed the door. Hello?
I said sorry.
Oh, no problem. Slammed the door super loud. And does not impact me one way or the other. I wasn't going to, just didn't faze me. My whole focus was just on the overall emotional energy, right? That's all I'm tuned into, because I don't want anything to escalate. If it does, it does, but I'm not going to be fearful of it. But if I can prevent it and create containment and keep feeling safe and keep people feeling secure and happy without all that drama, that's what I want. So I didn't attend to it, didn't do anything with it, never said a word, nothing happened. She never even came out of her room. The other boys came down eventually. They had a little more interaction, and finally it was time for everyone to go to bed. So they all went to bed. So I got up this morning. And where was I? I had to go out. Oh no, I was up in the bedroom this morning, and I hadn't come out, because usually I come down pretty early. And so she sent me a text, and she said, I love the way this works, and if you'll just give it time, it'll work this way for you too. She sent me a text. She said, hey, where are you? And I said, I'm upstairs. I'm about to hop in the shower. She said, okay, when you get done, will you come downstairs? And I said, like, of course. Like, usually I'm always downstairs anyway. Even when there's no one down here, I'm just, because I like when the kids, they get up in the mornings, I'm here, it's quiet. Those that want to check in early can check in with no threat, with no rivalry or anything else. I give them their little bit of love, and they go on their way. And so I said, yeah, of course. So I took my shower. A couple of my kids were already up. And she didn't even come out. Like, it was probably half an hour to an hour. She eventually came out, and she came over here beside me and told me about what she wants for her, how she wants to decorate her room, and showed me some pictures. And I looked at the pictures, and then I was interviewing a new staff person this morning. Oh, it was crazy around here. So he comes in at 10 o'clock. I said, come on in. I mean, it's like, all the kids were up and going, and so it was a good time. So I'm interviewing him at this side of the table, and this literally, I'm like right at my kitchen table, right? So when I sit here talking to you guys, I'm just sitting here right at the end of the kitchen table. So, and then there's the front door over there, and so he comes in. I have all the kids over there, and so he comes over, and he sits down, and Sarah was making breakfast, and he hadn't had breakfast, so I got him his plate, and we sat here, and she's sitting right over here across the table from me, and I'm just chiming in and doing her thing. But what she was really doing, she was connecting. She was making sure everything was okay. She can't say it, but she's anxious. She was anxious about the potential for stress in the relationship. Why? Not because I'd said anything, not because I'd gotten upset, not because I'd fussed. I hadn't said a word, but because she knew she had been upset and she had slammed that door. And she felt guilty about that. I never said a word. So she comes in, she's sitting down, hanging out, good mood, cool, goes and does whatever. And then I have to go to my chiropractic appointment, and I don't know where she was. So I left, and she said, a little while later, she texted me. She said, where are you? I said, I had to go to my chiropractic appointment. She was like, oh. I said, did you need something? She said, no, I'm good. She was just checking in. It's so interesting. And she's had a good day all day, and she's out surfing and, having a good time. And so I guess when I say dealing with teen tantrums, sometimes the best way to deal with teen tantrums is not to deal with them at all. We all have tantrums. We all have tantrums, and you've heard me say this before. A lot of times you ask your child to do something, but then what also happens is you have an expectation for them to whistle Dixie while they're doing it. See, the thing is you've got to be able to have your child do something, ask your child to do something, and they've got to adjust emotionally. They've got to adjust through their attitudes, their feelings, and sometimes their behaviors. If you haven't watched that episode on the Daily Dose of me talking about the 3 pathways of emotional expression, I encourage you to go find it. It was last year's episode. Go back and find it. Attitudes, feelings, and behaviors. Most of these children are stuck in behaviors, especially children who've spent a long time in residential treatment. They attitudes and feelings don't feel safe for them, so they immediately go to behaviors, and behaviors is where their brains are wired, and we have to systematically and categorically work them from behaviors up to attitudes and feelings. You start expressing attitudes and feelings, and when your kids express attitudes and feelings, you are well on your way to normal functioning, because that's what we all do as adults. We have attitudes and feelings about the things that we don't like. So sometimes the best way to deal with your teen's tantrum, and funny enough, David DeRovi, and I'm going to talk about this at some point because I think I made a note of it, he sent me an email. And if you guys are not signed up at Post+Institute.com to get the newsletter, you should. It's not even really a newsletter, but once a week, David sends out it's a little article. Sometimes he does a little audio recording because I think he sounds very wise, and he is a very wise guy. Plus, he's white-haired. He has all white hair, so who's not wise when your hair is completely white? But I think his hair has been white since he was like 40 or 30 years old. He may have been born that way. So anyway, if you haven't signed up there on postinstitute.com for the newsletter, for the emails, or for whatever it is, go do it, because what he sends out is it's just beautiful. But anyway, he had shared something from a mom who'd commented about some way she'd handled her child's outburst, and that she'd actually went to the child and asked if she could sit beside them, yada yada, and all that's great stuff. But guys, sometimes you don't need to do anything. Just let it be. Just let it be. And then be ready. Be ready for the repair afterwards. See, a lot of times we get our feelings hurt as parents. We get all butthurt, and then when our kids come back to repair, we don't create the repair. And then usually we create more rejection. Don't do that. Be that open, secure base as often as possible. And here's the other thing I want to tell you. I can't tell you this enough. Give your children more affection. More affection. If you've not hugged your child at least twice in one day, then you are way off the mark, right? You got to at least get in 2 hugs, at least get in 1 hug. I mean, if you can't even hug at this point, at least get in a little bit of eye contact. Do something that feels. Margie J. Preston, thank you so much for dropping those 50 stars on Big Papa. Get in that affection. It makes such a big difference to kids. Affection is the anchor of the relationship. Affection is the anchor of relationship. When you get in a hug with your child, or you get in a head rub, and so it's interesting. I like to even the kids that don't even, because of their sensory systems, they don't even affection is not their normal thing. Man, I'd love to get in a back rub or head rub or a little squeeze of the cheek or just a little eye contact, just so I can get that anchor in. And I'm just like a captain on a ship. I'm just lowering that anchor, lower and lower and lower and lower. And that's what affection does. And if you're not at that point where you can get affection, you got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere. And Allison J. James, if behaviors are destruction of property, here's what I'm going to tell you. First, go back and watch that 3 pathways of emotional expression. Because if behaviors are destruction of property, your child is operating out of the behavioral pathway of expression. And you've got to work them up to the attitudes and the feelings. So go back and watch that. And sometimes, here guys, I'm gonna drop something on you. If the behavior is destruction of property, sometimes the best thing you can do is say nothing at all. Say nothing at all. going to close on this. Your child busts up something and you walk in the other room. Do you know what the first thing they do is? When you've walked in the other room, they turn around and they look at what they've busted up. And then they try to get all defensive again. They're like this. They're like this. They break something, bam, break it, and they're like this. They're defensive. They're in survival. They're ready to fight. You turn around and walk away, or you look back at the television, you don't say a word, you don't look at them. They're just standing, they're fighting a ghost. They're fighting a ghost, and that ghost is what lives inside of them. It lives inside of them. And then what lives inside of them is also their guilt and their shame and their remorse. And so when you don't give them someone to fight, they have to fight what's inside of them. And ultimately, that's what we want. We want to develop and nurture internal locus of control for our children. We want our children utilizing their internal experience, their internal state to control what's outside of them. We don't always want to be using the external, because the external, as long as you're using external to control your children, eventually you've got to take that external control away, and then what are they left with? They're left with nothing. We want to develop that internal control. So don't create that battle. Have that conversation later. Oh my gosh, I had a mom share a text with me just recently. It was just this morning. And she was like, this is what happened with my kid. And kid called me all kinds of nasty names. And mom said I gave her the option that she could chill, or she could take that outside the house. Whatever she wanted to do, one way or the other, was fine with me. This is a kid who's always running away from the house, walking away from the house. Mom says because she wasn't in control, she said, I'm not going anywhere. You can get out of here. And she went to her room. And mom said within an hour later, she came and she apologized and she was remorseful. And then it opened up to a whole nother dynamic of communication with the child, sharing her phone, her text message with her friends, and about a breakup with her boyfriend. Oh, just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We can create healing from that. We can create healing from those seeds. But the first part is us. We've got to not feel so overwhelmed and scared and inadequate. You are powerful beyond belief. You are powerful beyond belief. You have everything within you that you need to create a healing environment and a healing relationship for your child. Just don't let the stress push you out of that power. If you don't let stress and don't let fear push you out of the power of love, because love is enough and love matters and makes all the difference, and you can do it, and I believe in you. God bless you. Big Papa loves you. Remember, in every situation, any situation, every opportunity, we always have two choices. We can continue to react from the same blueprints of stress, fear, and overwhelm, or we can stop, we can slow down, take 3 to 10 deep breaths, and choose love. And I hope you can choose love in every possible moment. Love you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.